Life unscripted from prep to play. Pull up a chair, don't be
Hi,
late.
everyone. Welcome back to From Prep to Plate. As always, I'm your humble home cook, Chef Montgomery, and Chris is behind the camera. Hi, Chris. You'll see her again, as usual, over here pretty soon. I kind of look like a mad scientist over here at the moment. We're going to take a pork chop, flatten it out. We're going to egg wash it, put it through some flour and some cornstarch, and we're going to make pork chop sandwiches today. That's right. Now, Chris asked, I had to go over to Oregon. I went to Super Value and purchased a couple pork chops over there. She asked me about the ones that I cut up a while back. Some of them are still froze. So in order to do the show, as I prep for everything, I forgot to take them out of the freezer, so I had to go buy some fresh ones. So, yes. So we've got a skillet over here. I've got the grease that's starting to warm up. We'll crank it up here in just a few minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to make some Chef Montgomery sauce. You saw we used it quite a while back on the hamburgers that we did. I'm going to go through the process. We're going to make up some real quick. We'll go through the ingredients as we do this so that you can see it being made. And then we'll move on to the pork chops. That's why everything is over here. So Chris is saying something to me. I don't know what she's saying, but okay. So we're going to start off. Today what I'm going to use is we're going to use Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise. I like using Duke's mayonnaise, just different consistency, different flavors. And a lot of this I do by eyeball. I'll put the amounts of ingredients into later. But right now, that's about, 3 nice tablespoons of mayonnaise. And I use, instead of yellow mustard or pepper, I like using stone ground mustard. Just a lot of nice seasonings in it. It gives a lot of texture and flavor. Okay. And as I mix this, I'll go with determination of what else I need to add to it to give it the bite that I want. Now, this is just paprika. So I'm going to add 4 or 5 good shakes of the paprika. I'm going to add some honey, and it's just raw honey. You can get some honey from your local market or whatever you'd like. I should probably take the lid off. It might be easier. Let me get a smaller utensil here. Honey, when it sits for a while, it just gets a little stuck like honey does. So we're going to add the honey. That should be plenty of the honey. Get that down in there. Now that's a dull knife I just put into the sink, not a sharp knife. We know how I am about sharp knives in the sink. That's a no-no. And then I'm going to add some Tabasco. The Tabasco is going to add some of the heat to it for us, along with the paprika. So we're going to put a few splashes in there. And then we're going to add some pickle juice. Now, I'm just using kosher dill spears pickle juice, and I don't need to add a whole lot. And again, doing it by eye. Get rid of my spoon. And we're going to take a small whisk, and I'm going to start incorporating all of these ingredients together in this dish. I thought I'd start with the sauce first instead of the pork chops. That way everybody could see the process that I go through to make this up. And again, I have an empty bottle here that we're going to put this in. I'm going to want a little more mayonnaise in that. I can see already the consistency is a little runny from what I like, so I'm going to add just a little bit more mayonnaise. Probably another tablespoon. Incorporate that all in. Now I'm going to whisk it till it gets a nice consistency. And dishes today. Mm. Yeah, yeah. That's got the heat and everything I like. So that's great. And again, if you're sampling stuff, don't just take the spoon, dip it in, put it back in, and go, and then dip it again. That's not very good. That's aki, so let's bypass that part. So I'm going to take the funnel, and I am going to just start funneling this into my bottle so I can use it on my sandwich later. There we go. Put this over to the side. Again, I'm making dishes today. I made a mess last week with the butter. I hope some of you had a chance to try and make the butter. I've already gone through my 2 sticks of the urban garlic butter that we made. I still have the other stick of regular butter, so we've got that still. All right, so I'm going to just slide a couple of things over to the side here real quick that I'm not going to need. Now, here's my sauce. I'm going to put that to the side. So again, I've got a cast iron skillet over here. I've got it just a little under half filled with my oil. I want it to get up to 350. Right now, I only have it set at a 5, so it's going to, I'll turn it up here in just a couple minutes. Excuse me. And then I've got my tongs that we'll be using. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pound out the pork chops here real quick and set them to the side. But let me get my gloves on. Again, gloves really help to stop cross-contamination. If you're doing things by hand, try to do one dry hand, one wet hand. It's going to be hard when you're working with meats. So I'm going to cut this package open. And I've got 2 pork chops right here. And again, make sure when you pull them out that white or black or gray paper isn't attached to these anymore. All right. So I'm going to do a little trim job because I'm going to get rid of the fat on these. Now, if you've got a grinder at home, you can save this and add it to the, make sausage with it. Today, we're taking it off because I don't really need it. So we're going to go all the way around this. So I chop this off real quick. And again, I'm going through these steps so that everybody can see what I'm doing. I don't want to skip a step and then have everybody go, hey, what do you do? What I miss? There's something, how do you get from point A to point C? That's not fair. Again, I'm just trimming off the fat of this because we're going to add all the flavor we want to pork chops. Excuse me. Remember, pork chops don't have a whole lot of their own distinctive flavors. The fresher the pork chop is always the better. We always know that fresh meat is better than meat that's been sitting in a freezer for long periods of time or, at our local grocery stores that we go to. Okay, so I've got these. So here's my 2. I'm going to put my knife over here on the side of the sink there. It's not in the sink, so you know where it's at. All right. I'm going to take the gloves off here real quick. And I want to set these to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some plastic wrap. You can use wax paper, you can use parchment paper, whatever you want. I'm going to lay it on my table here. Just set that right there for a second. Now I'm going to get another piece. Set this over here to the side for just a moment. All right. I need a glove here. It's like I feel like there should be some kind of music playing in the background while I'm doing stuff, while I'm preparing things. But, oh well. I digress. How about the rest of you? When you're in the kitchen cooking, do you have on music? Are you listening to things at home, or what are you doing?
They're listening to our podcast.
Listening to our podcast. That's right. On Spotify, Life Unscripted with Morgan and Chris. If you haven't heard us on there, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. So now that I've got this covered, I'm going to take the flat side of the mallet and I'm just going to go around pork chop. Now I'm beating the pork chop, but I don't want to beat up the pork chop. I want to leave some of that together, but I'm going to spread this out. As I do this, I'm kind of pushing outwards as the pork chop. Okay. So there's one pork chop. Give me just a second here. Take that off and put that back over here. We're going to do the same process to our second pork chop. This is a lot of work if you're going to do multiple pork chops. But boy, if you get your kids to help you, give them the mallet. Here you go, Junior. Like Mr. G was here on our last episode. Give them something to do. Get them in the kitchen. Help build those memories.
Can you do this the night before?
Oh yeah, you can pound these out. You can do this when you cut them out of the pork loin if you want, and then vacuum seal them in the bag. Many of you know that I'm big on vacuum sealers. It just saves you so much more money going to the store and buying the large pieces of pork loin or roast or whatever that may be, and cutting them yourselves. Recently, I went somewhere. I think I'd mentioned this before. I'd had a New York strip roast that I cut. It was $160 some for the whole thing. I cut 1 inch thick steaks. I got 15 out of there with extra for sausage or for my steak burgers that I did a while back. And so they came out like $9.45, 1 inch thick, beautiful looking steaks. If you scroll back on our Facebook page, our podcast with Morgan and Chris, you'll see that. But I went to the store and they had a 1/2 inch steak, same as what ours was, 1/2 inch, $25 and some odd cents for one. Just saying, folks. If you want to do your own, I know the cost up front is a little bit more than the other. So if you can do it, I say do it. Chris, could you hand me the eggs out of the refrigerator, please? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some eggs in a bowl. Then I'm going to make up my dry mix. So I'll have a wet mix and a dry mix. Thank you. Now, some people will put their seasonings in the wet mix. Myself, I don't. I put it in with the dry mix, with the flour. It just makes it, for me, it makes it easier. I can ensure that all of my seasonings get incorporated. If you put the stuff in, if you've got dry seasonings, you put them in the wet mix. Some of the things that can happen with that is some of those dry mixes will sit on the bottom of the bowl and not really get incorporated into your food. 1 second here real quick. I rinse my hands. Again, after touching poultry and things of that nature, make sure you clean your hands, because I don't want to keep touching stuff and getting cross-contamination over everything. So I'm going to take these eggs and I'm just going to whisk them. Again, you can do this with a whisk if you have a whisk. I'm just using a fork. You can do, instead of an egg wash, you can do buttermilk for your wash. You can add, if you're low on eggs, you can add a little bit of milk to your eggs for that. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side. All that is just eggs. Now, I'm going to do the dry wash. I'm going to work on that. So I've got some all-purpose flour. Like I say, some of the big shows have somebody who've already done this for them. Me, I don't. It's Chris and myself. So that way you can see again what it's like just straight in the kitchen. All right, I'm going to go about 1.5 cups of flour. Okay, there's my 1.5 cups. Set my flour to the side. And then I'm going to add cornstarch. Now, cornstarch has a little different consistency. It's going to help break down the gluten a little bit more, and it's going to add a little more crunch, a little more flavor to this. So, yeah, it kind of popped right out of there, didn't it? So I'm going to do about 1/2 cup of cornstarch in there. Well, I created dishes and a little bit of a mess today, didn't I? So let me move that out of the way, get this out of the way. Over here. Boy, it'd be nice to have a sink, a kitchen where we can film where the sink, everything is right there. I could just turn around, wash my hands real quick, rinse them off, and I'm back at it. That would be nice. Okay, set that there. And you all know how I am about a clean kitchen. Chris can tell you, even at home, when I'm cooking at home, I clean as I go, so everything gets picked up. All right, so we've got our flour and our cornstarch. I'm going to go ahead and start turning up this grease so it gets up to temperature. Now, I'm going to add some paprika to this. Again, you can add whatever seasonings you want. There's so many of them out there. I'm going to use some Kinder's butterfly steak and chop in here. And again, the reason why I add it to the flour is I'm going to be guaranteed that I get a little more in there and on the pork chop. Some red pepper flakes for a little extra heat. I've got some garlic and herb. We're just going to add a little bit in there. And then some MSG. We're going to add that to pull a little more of the flavor out. Where's my opening here? There we go. Give a little MSG in there, a few shakes. And today we're going to add just a little bit of Slap Your Mama. There we go. Just a little bit in there. All right. Give this a nice mix. I want to incorporate all those seasonings now with my dry here. All right. So we've got these. Let me get a glove. When you're doing a mix like this, you want to do, if you can, one dry, one wet. For the wet, for the dry, the two. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to take my pork chop. Put that in. Get my fork out of there. I'm going to put, now I've got it coated. I'm going to put it in my dredge. My hand's separate there. Okay, now it's coated nicely. I'm going to put this back in. Get that nice dry on it. I'm going to sure I get this thing nice and coated. Cover everything up in there. Flip it over again. Set this to the side over here. We're going to take our other one now, our other pork chop. A little bit into the dry. And gloves, again, when you're doing an egg wash or any kind of a wash with, and then the flour, it will get clumpy on your hands. That's why the glove makes it really nice. You can take the glove off. Otherwise, you have to be running back and forth over to the sink every 5 seconds and washing all that stuff off your fingers. Good for the kids. Get them in there, get them dirty, let them have some fun when they're doing this. They feel like a part of it. Okay. So I'm going to set that there. Take that off. Move these out of the way. All right. So we have a podcast, and Melissa Rojas from the Senior and Community Center, where we film this show, is a regular on that show as well. So we definitely want to thank the Mount Morris Senior and Community Center for allowing us to use their kitchen. It works out beautifully for us. So I want to get the grease to about 350. It's got a nice climb, but it's going to take just a couple more seconds. So we have a lot of fun on our podcast. We talk about the community, local things going on. We talk to businesses, other restaurant owners, and all kinds of different things. So if you get a chance, jump over to Spotify and check out Life Unscripted with Morgan and Chris. And we also have a new website, lifeunscriptedmedia.com. So if you go to our website now, you can find everything that we're up to, places that we're going to go, people that we're getting ready to talk to, and everything else. So we do more than just this cooking show, don't we, Chris?
Yes, we do.
So I want to check this again. Again, I want it to about 350. Excuse me. I think this is our 12th episode for our cooking show. So it's moving along really well. We're having a lot of fun. I hope you're checking out some of the stuff that we're doing, some of the content. Leave us some comments, some ideas. What would you like to see us try and make? I'm not a big baker, so that would be a challenge. We've got some other good dishes coming up that are really cost savings that you'll be able to do at home and everything. Just all kinds of different things that we're working on right now. What am I missing, Chris? Anything?
No, I don't think so.
Nope. Again, as some of you saw last week or last episode, Mr. G, Garrett, was with us. He had a great time learning how to cook up different meals and everything. I'm just kind of talking right now so we get the grease up to temperature. And again, he's having a lot of fun learning how to cook in the kitchen. We're going to make a jambalaya down the road. That'll be easy and that you can make at home and everything. So people will show you that. So I'll tell you what, for right now, we'll be right back. We're going to get this grease up to 350 and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we're going to take our first pork chop and we're going to put it in. Remember, when you put it in grease, put it in away from you. Okay, that's very important. You don't want it to splash back at you. So we're going to put that in and we're going to let that go. All right, we're going to probably go 3 or 4 minutes per side and let that sizzle. That way we want to get that pork cooked. So this other one, we're going to set it to the side. We'll cook that later after this one's done, but we'll get this first one going in there. Get a plate here. And again, as you can see, super easy. Pork chop, mallet, seasonings, whatever kind of seasonings you want to do. Some people will put seasonings on the pork chop, put it in the flour and the cornstarch, put it in the egg wash, then put it back in. Sometimes I think that's too much. It's all up to you, however you want to do it. I showed you the process that we walked through today. Again, I like putting all my dry ingredients in with the dry. If you've got some Tabasco sauce or something else that you want to mix in with the eggs and whip it in, that's fine. Because everything will get incorporated in that when you've got that mixed in. And as you can see here, this is already bubbling and getting a light brown on the outside. Excuse me. So we're going to let that go. I hope you're enjoying our shows. We're trying to come up with all kinds of new content. We're excited about where Prep to Plate is going. I try not to edit out the little bits. It's human nature. I've watched some shows where it's like they're going along and it's kind of like our butter show that we did, episode 11. We did a lot of start and stops because it took a while for everything to whip to make the whipped cream, or to make the Cool Whip, and then for the frosting, and then to get to the butter and the buttermilk separation and everything else. It all takes a while. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to flip this over now. It's got a nice crust here on this side, so we're going to let that side sit. And again, don't use plastic in hot grease. Why is that, Chris? Because that'll melt. It will melt. Yes. You don't want that. And also, because grease splatters, watch what you have around it. If you're wearing glasses, sometimes it'll spray up. You get your glasses, you have to clean those. That's a mess too. Nobody ever tells you about that on the shows, do they? Make sure this is a cast iron. I'm using the induction today again. You can do this. I like using a skillet if I'm going to do grease with this. It just conducts the heat much better. You can do it on a gas stove. You can do it on an electric stove. Just remember, wherever you're doing it, this will get hot and it'll make a mess around. Be very careful. If you're not going to use a cast iron skillet and you're using a skillet or a big pan, make sure that handle is attached. Remember, we've talked about that a number of times. You grab a skillet or a pan by the handle, and if you can shake it and everything wobbles and shake, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Buy yourself something new. Why take the chance of getting hurt? Yeah, that's browning up nicely. I'm going to give that just another moment. Give it another. I'm not put that. We'll just let that sit. And again, for sauces, use whatever you want on your pork chop sandwich. You could use A1 steak sauce, make your own. There's tons and tons of sauces out on the market. They're so easy. Experiment. That's what cooking's half about. Get out there, get some different ingredients, put it together and taste it. find something that you really like and enjoy. And again, you'll see I'm being very careful as I lift that up and turn it over. There's a nice sizzle for you. Make sure that when you're cooking something with grease, children, move them back away. Grease, when it hits the flesh, hurts. So don't have the children standing right there where they can get burnt and or hurt on this, okay? This is almost ready. As you can see, area is still clean. Pick things up as you go. Over there, I'm going to do the dishes when we're all done here, but I like to make sure that my area that I'm cooking in is clean. Having stuff stacked up and piled around you when you're cooking, that's not good. Don't do it. Okay. I'm going to pull that pork chop up. I'm going to just set it on the plate for a minute here. I'm going to let it rest. Trying to get to the
middle.
Yeah, you can't hear the nice crispy on it.
Oh.
But there's what she looks like. Really nice. I'm going to take this actually. Let's cut this open. Let's take a look. Look how nice and juicy and done this pork chop is, okay? It's not dry. The grease did not dry it out. It looks nice. It's got a nice crust on it. This is going to be beautiful. So I cut it in half because it's a lot for one bun. Because as you can see, there you can do a pork chop sandwich. Just like that. Let me grab just another quick plate. I'm going to put that on there. Take some of our sauce that we made.
Or you can do mayonnaise.
You can use mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, onion, put all the fun stuff on there. Make yourself a sandwich. We just did this real quick so we could show you this. We're going to cut that up in half there like that. Would you like to come and join me so you can give your opinion on this too? And then we'll put this other one, when the show's over, we'll cook up the other one, have that for later too. All right, so here we go. Pork chop sandwich. Get the nice juice on that. Cheers. Tomato, lettuce, onion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That really added this.
But the sauce is nice on here, though.
Doing that cornstarch and that flour gives another level, too. Well, hot grease. That is just stupid good. Again, use whatever toppings and seasonings you want with it. This is really good. I mean, juicy, very well cooked, nice crispy on the outside because of the cornstarch, which add the flavor. Again, you can see some of the seasonings from the flour in there that are incorporated in from the flour. 3 to 4 minutes per side. Just kind of look at it. You want to make sure your pork is cooked. You can check the temperature of it. 165 is usually done. I usually go a little over. I know when I'm cooking, I know my temperatures very well, so I keep a thermometer close by though, just in case I'm unsure of anything, because I don't want to make anybody sick. I make sure that everything is cooked well. So this week, that's it. I've showed you a grilled pork chop sandwich, and so we've got everything good right there. This
Filming.
So this week, again, thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks, Chris, for helping out today. Thank you to Melissa Rojas and the Mount Morris Senior and Community Center. So thank you guys very much for hosting us, allow us to cook in your kitchen. Again, Facebook, find us under our podcast with Morgan and Chris. You can find everything that we're up to under lifeunscriptedmedia.com now. So now we have a website. We're growing. We're loving it. So thanks to all you for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Every time we cook, leave us comments, share, tell your friends about us if you're having fun with us. Again, leave us comments. What do you want us to see us cook? We're in for it. So from us to you, you guys all have a great rest of your week. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye now.
Pull up a chair, don't be late. Hands are clean.